is in, and today we're talking about the dangers of salt, and Dr. Ira Zunin joins us now. He's the chief psychologist from the Manukai o Malama Integrative Clinic. Good morning, Dr. Z, and thanks for being here this morning.
Good morning, but I'm the medical director. Claire Roundtree is the chief psychologist.
The director, that's right. All right, thanks for correcting me.
I won't psych you out today.
All right, so Dr. Zunin, let's talk a little bit about the salt in our diets.
Right.
How dangerous is it?
Well, you know, if you have two healthy kidneys, they can process quite a bit of salt. But at some point, they do get overwhelmed, and we get high blood pressure. That high blood pressure is a major risk factor for heart disease, for stroke, for kidney failure. And about 1/3 of Americans already have high blood pressure, and another third are right on the edge.
I'm a pretty healthy person. I like to exercise, but I do like putting salt on some of my foods, especially when I eat steak. Tell us a little bit about how much should we consume each day. How do you know how much you're consuming?
Well, it's hard to know how much we're consuming, and that's a big issue. But the point is we shouldn't consume more than about 2.5 grams per day. That's 1 teaspoon. And if we are over 50, if African Americans, if we already have some health issues, some kidney issues, even less. But the truth is we don't need more than 0.5 gram per day. So the average American really takes enough salt in one day to last us a week.
Okay, so where is all this salt coming from? Are people, just using that shaker too much? Because you really don't have control over what's in foods that's prepared for you, right?
That's right, and it's the prepared foods, the processed foods that are our biggest problem. You take a McDonald's hamburger or a Burger King hamburger, and that'll give you about 1 gram right there, and that's enough to live off of for 2 days. And don't even talk to me about the plate lunch.
I'm sure it's got a lot of salt in there. All right, so how do we control our salt intake then? How do we measure how much salt we're putting in?
So if it's processed foods, you're getting at the market, read the label, and that'll tell you. But fresh fruits, fresh vegetables are the way to go. Preparing it yourself if you can, then you can control those ingredients. And remember, too, it doesn't have to taste salty to be salty. There's lots of salt in bread and even in some of those sweet desserts.
And very quickly, you also just came back from Egypt. Obviously, yes. Overseas, there are a lot of protests there right now. Tell us a little bit about your trip to Egypt.
Well, I just came back a couple of weeks ago, and it was very hot. There weren't any protests yet, but you can tell that it was a real pressure cooker there. And every time you travel along the road, every few miles, there's a gang of policemen waiting to interrogate, see what's going on, who's passing, and why. So I'm not surprised that it popped.
Well, we're glad you're back safe, and thank you for joining us here this morning. And don't forget, you can see this interview again on our website, kitv.com/thismorning.